Hello everyone and welcome back to the New York Empoleon's Week 10 Battle of the GBA. We are here this week taking on the San Diego Snugglers, coached by Grandmaster D. Ray. And if I sound a little out of it, it's partially because I haven't battled in 2 weeks, thanks to Addison. I really appreciate that. And partially because it's 1 o'clock in the morning. So this week has been tough. I have been all over the place. I went up to Massachusetts for an ultimate tournament. I went up to Long Island for part of the week. And I've been back now. My birthday was on Friday. I had guests over until like 9 p.m. tonight. And I appreciate D-Ray being flexible and able to work around that schedule. But it also means that this battle is happening at a time that is objectively not the most optimal thing I've ever done in my life. So we are going to take on D-Ray with hopefully the energy to win this battle, because win and in for playoffs. There are routes in which I lose and make playoffs. They are not the simplest things in the world. I need 2 points. Simply put, there are many ways to score points, obviously, as we know, for the season. I can get 4 kills with the same Mon. I can have a Mon live with 5 HP or less. I can, you know, those are like the big ones. It's not a home game. So if I get those 2 conditions met, I can lose the battle and still make playoffs. But if I win the battle, I'm in no matter what. So let's try to focus on that. Let's try to get the win here and take down D-Ray. I know I probably sound a little bit tired. I probably sound a little bit like low energy, but I promise my brain is working just fine, and I just need to focus on the task in front of me. I wanted to also acknowledge that I did not post a team builder for this matchup. This week's been crazy, like I said, and I haven't had time to put in the content that I wanted to put in, so there is no team builder for this matchup. It's not that D-Ray, you know, like, it's not that I'm like trying to hide sets or anything. I just didn't have time, and here we are. Anyway, this is the team we're going to be rocking out with this week. I guess I'll quickly go over it before the battle. We have a Leech Seed, Terra Blast, Leaf Blade, Protect, Terra Water, Leafeon. This is mainly for Palafin. It is max physically defensive, and it can basically handle the Palafin. Leftovers plus Leech Seed plus Protect can also get the Annihilate worn down very quickly, and can like do things to the Rotom Wash even if I get burned. And it's just useful coverage. You know, water plus grass off of water type is very useful coverage for me. So I think it's going to be good this week. Hopefully it does its job, which is basically just walling Palafin, especially after Terra, because I can't switch in on an Ice Punch very happily before I Terra, and also being able to take a hit from the Annihilate in a pinch. Fortress is going to be sturdy with heavy duty boots, Toxic Spikes, Rapid Spin, Volt Switch, Gyro Ball. I don't know if Muck is likely to come this week, but if it does come, obviously Toxic Spikes are a little bit worse. That said, Rapid Spin is incredibly valuable for me because Klefki's super annoying, Toadscruel's super annoying, and they set up rocks and spikes with pretty reliable success. Volt Switch is nice just for momentum, and Gyro Ball is, I'm super slow, so why not? Greninja is Battle Bond this week, but is not really a sweeper, more of a breaker. So I'm going to be using it a little bit more aggressively than usual. It's not my like total win con, although there are situations in which it comes in at the end of the game and wins, which I'm fine with. Lives a Jet Punch, so I'm Boots just so that I don't have to worry too much about hazards. And then Grass Knot does a lot to Palafin, like a lot to Palafin. Dark Pulse is great coverage for most of the team. Surf and Ice Beam cover the rest of it. Garchomp has Clear Amulet. I thought about running Lumberry, but decided on Clear Amulet instead. That way it doesn't get intimidated by Arcanine coming in, which I thought was pretty useful. Swords Dance is super great, since it baits in things like Rotom Wash, and I can Dragon Dance, or Swords Dance, excuse me, and then Dragon Claw into the Rotom Wash, and if it's at like 70% or less, it just dies. I am running pretty not attack invested. I'm actually max HP and just 12 attack with a bunch of speed. That way I can live hits and dish out extra damage from things like Palafin or Annihilate or something like that. Mew is going to be synchronized with Eject Button, Will-O-Wisp, Stealth Rock, Psychic, and Volt Switch. I'm running Eject Button, Volt Switch since I do want reliable momentum off of this Mew, both in cases where it can switch in and be a pivot automatically from Eject Button, and in cases in which it's in and I want to be able to click Volt Switch and switch out. Stealth Rock are really, really good this match. Unfortunately, because I'm Eject Button, it's a hard lead to lead Stealth Rock, but it's not impossible. And Psychic is just fun coverage for most of the team. Volt Switch hits the Iron Jugulus a little bit harder. I have to worry about Weakness Policy Iron Jugulus a little bit, but Weakness Policy Iron Jugulus doesn't outspeed Greninja, and so we should be able to take it down. Next up is Zapdos, and finally up is Zapdos, which is max special defense for the Iron Jugulus, and Draco Meteor Cyclizar. Holding leftovers, Volt Switch, Heat Wave, Thunder Wave, Roost. Thunder Wave is great for speed control, and Roost is good for longevity, and Volt Switch is pretty spammable in this matchup. This thing obviously stops the Palafin early in the game. If I do lead with it, it can come in on a burn from Rotom Wash and not care about it, and Volt Switch out of it. And we're not running any speed in this, so it will give us some information about sets from my opponent on how much speed they are running on various things. That's it. That's the team. And we're just going to run it like it is. Just checked all the moves, basically, and all the EVs and and stuff, so, and abilities. So we should be good. Telling my opponent that I'm searching. Obviously, win or lose here, this has been a really fun season of the GBA. I'm really glad GBA is back. I hope that they take a lot of the advice that us coaches have been acknowledging throughout the season on various ways to improve. In this particular moment, I can't think of any of what they are, except that we talked about some of the point systems and some of the way that kills are calculated. For instance, Pokemon that die to like Stealth Rocks don't get credited with a kill for the Pokemon that set Stealth Rock. But because getting 4 kills does matter for Pokemon, for like a person to get a point, we as coaches were like, probably should get credited with a kill or something like that. So there were things like that that we were just kind of, you know, helping the GBA get a little bit more. It's a little bit of background into the GBA, I think, helping them get more into the, like, you know, new meta that they're trying to put forward. And I love point systems. I think more leagues should do point systems, personally. You know, it keeps things interesting. It's tough because I think if it was not a point system, there's a very good chance that I would have already clinched, but here we are, not having already clinched. But I think point systems, for that reason, make things interesting. Alright, so we do see Annihilate, Palafin, Rotom Wash, Cyclizar, Klefki, Iron Jugulus. So there's no Arcanine, and so I do wish that I was Lumberry on the Garchomp, but I'm not going to, like, sit here and be too sad about that. You know, I'm not going to, like, cry over spilled milk here. There's no Toad Scroll, which means Volt Switch is free. Zapdos is a free lead. That is a completely safe lead. Klefki could lead and try to set hazards. I could just go straight for a Heat Wave. I could also see the Rotom Wash leading. I would be happy to Volt Switch and get a Scout on the set. Palafin could also lead. I get a free Volt Switch if Palafin leads. Cyclizar could lead. I get a free T-Wave if Cyclizar leads. I guess Rotom could switch in on the T-Wave potentially, but I don't really mind Rotom coming in and then again getting a Scout on its set. We're going to plug in my controller because it would be really awkward if it died during this match. Okay. Can you tell I'm a little nervous about this? Anytime it's like a win and in, obviously there's a lot of pressure, but I think maybe just the fact that it's at 1 a.m. is like making me feel less pressure. Maybe? I don't know. I feel okay right now in terms of like stress levels. Just pure exhaustion is really what's kicking in. I've battled it this time before. It's not the end of the world. Dr. Dre Bot is the Iron Jugulus as the lead, and I actually did not predict the Iron Jugulus to lead here, but I'm not complaining about it. I don't think this thing can do anything to me. And Volt Switch, oh, that's not the right set. Hold on. My calc has the wrong set, but we have so much time that I'm just going to take the time to fix it. Okay, Iron Jugulus. My computer's also just lagging like crazy. I hope it doesn't affect the recording at all. I'm just gonna Volt Switch. Switches out. Nice. That's gonna be the Rotom Wash probably. Oh, it's the Cyclizar. Get a scout on that set. That looks maybe assault vested. So I can't go into Mew at this time. I don't want to go Garchomp. I could just go into Leafeon, but I don't want it to take a huge hit here. Garchomp doesn't really want to take a Draco. I could go into Fortress and just click T-Spikes. I could also just go Mew, but you're probably just going to attack it, and then I just get eject button, and I don't want to do that. Leafeon can't take the hit here, so we're just going to go into Fortress. I understand that the likely click here is going to be something like Overheat. But I'm just going to set up a layer of T-Spikes, and if they do Overheat, they go to -2. I have Sturdy. I'm fine with that. And I can just go right back into Zapdos at this point. Or I can go into Garchomp here, which is now safe with the -2 special attack. And not going to stress too much about damage. Yes, they can Rapid Spin. I totally understand that that's going to happen right here. But I think this is a good chance to either go back into Zapdos or go into Garchomp. I'm going to go Garchomp here, honestly. I want to be aggressive. Cyclizar at -2, so there's no way that Draco Meteor is doing like basically anything to me. Rapid Spin's probably coming. Just knock off. Okay. Knocked off my Clear Amulet. I can just Dragon Claw. I think I Swords Dance, though. I don't think you're staying in. Draco's not going to kill me. And so I'd be really surprised to see you stay in here. They didn't Rapid Spin, which means the T-Spikes are still up. There's the U-turn. Okay. Yeah, so it's probably Assault Vest, and I assume the last move is either Draco or Rapid Spin. If Klefki comes in here, I think I'm just going to click Fire Fang, expecting a Magnet Rise. If Rotom Wash comes in here, I think I'm just going to click Dragon Claw and try to 2 KO it. And if they go for a Willow, they go for a Willow. This 2-hit KO is even max defensive Rotom, but unless it has a Citrus Berry. It should 2-hit KO through leftovers, but Citrus Berry would allow it to survive too. And I do still have Zapdos at full HP, which can wall the Cyclizar set and the Rotom set, or most Rotom and Iron Jugulis. And I do have Leafeon, which can hit the Palafin and the Annihilate. So that leaves basically just Klefki as like a Mon that I'm annoyed by. And so yeah, we're going to see that's going to be a clean 2 KO. Foul Play comes out. And that doesn't even come close to killing because I'm actually not that offensive. We do see the leftovers here. And so Dragon Claw is free. Klefki could come in. I'm not going to try to predict that. It's not worth it at all in my mind. Because Fire Fang doesn't kill from here. And getting rid of the Rotom would be really, really nice. So Garchomp kills Rotom Wash with Dragon Claw. And that's just a thing that Zapdos doesn't have to deal with, which means Zapdos is even more reliable at dealing with Iron Jugulis now. Palafin might come in here. I don't see that though. Like if you go Palafin to double into hard, I don't know, Iron Jugulis, it's just straight Iron Jugulis. That makes sense to me. I see that play being reasonable. I'm actually gonna switch out here. Zapdos is gonna take these hits totally fine, and there's no reason to sack Garchomp at this point since it does outspeed Palafin, force the Jet Punch, get rough skin damage, unless or prove protective pads, which would be really good information for me to have. So Dark Pulse is going to come out. That's not going to do anything. Leftovers are going to pop. And now we do have a slow Volt Switch, which we can get off into the Cyclizar again. I could also just Thunder Wave, and I actually think that's the better play here. We're just going to go for a Thunder Wave. Zapdos being in against Cyclizar is actually great. T-Spikes are still up, so the Cyclizar, if it's not Boots, is going to get poisoned. In fact, everything other than Klefki is going to get poisoned here, and the Iron Jugulus, of course. So that is going to be the Cyclizar. We're going to see if it's Boots now. It is not Boots. Okay, great. I think it's Assault Vested. And we're just going to go for a Thunder Wave. We are going to fail the Thunder Wave because I didn't think about the fact that it was going to get poisoned until after I did that. But it was good for the Iron Jugulus if it did just choose to stay in for whatever reason. So I expect a knockoff is going to come here. I think this is where I sack Fortress. There's no real incentive to keep it. If you go for a Rapid Spin, you go for a Rapid Spin. That's totally fine. We're just going to keep Zapdos healthy for the Iron Jugulus since that thing did do a decent amount of damage to it. So we're going to go into Fortress. It's just going to die to a knockoff, and that's fine. So Cyclizar kills Fortress with knockoff. Take a little bit of extra damage. So now, knowing it's Overheat, knockoff, U-turn, I don't know if the last move is Draco Meteor or not. I guess I can go into Leafeon and Protect. Scout for the Draco. So we're going to Terra and we're going to Protect. Because I want to be Water type. That's really useful for later in the game to just be Water type. Gets rid of Hurricane weaknesses. It gets rid of a lot of weaknesses. And we're going to Scout for Draco. Because if it is Draco, I'm going to switch out. Because we do have options to switch in. Protect is just going to give me that information. It's going to get an extra turn of Poison, which is actually really nice. Get rid of a U-turn potential. If it's a U-turn, then I'm just going to go for like a Leech Seed. Knockoff, I'm also just probably going to go for a Leech Seed or here. Or, okay, it is U-turn that is the choice, which means I don't think the last move is Draco. And we're going to see a little bit of extra chip damage here come off on the Cyclizar. Leafeon is in right now. I can go for a Leaf Blade or a Leech Seed here. I sort of think that it might be Iron Jugulus that comes in. I think I just Leech Seed. Yeah, I'm just going to Leech Seed. There's the knockoff. Okay. Gets rid of my leftovers, which is obviously not great. But now you have a choice of whether you want a hard switch or you want a U-turn. I think I just click Leech Seed a second time, for being totally honest. And we're just going to get that HP back from the knockoff. I sort of expect it's going to be a hard switch here, not a U-turn because of the Protect possibility. But either way, I'm just going to go for another Leech Seed. And whatever you go into is going to be... So Bananas is probably Annihilate. This is Terra, Ghost, or Fairy. We're going to see the T-Spikes do their job. Get this thing poisoned. We're going to get off another Leech Seed. No Rage Fist boosts yet. Obviously, Bulk Up may be a little scary. So I don't want it to be a free Bulk Up. But I can live a Rage Fist even from like Terra Ghost when it gets to 100 base power at +1, I can live one. Just double checking all of these things. At +1. Yeah, I'm living one. So I'm just going to go for a Leaf Blade here. Actually, I'm going to go for a Terra Blast, which is slightly less, but it doesn't make contact, and I don't have to worry about like Rocky Helmet or any like weird defensive set. Not worth it. I might as well scout for the Rocky Helmet. I'm going to live the hit anyway. Annihilate comes in. It's poisoned. Cyclizar is also poisoned at about 70% now after Regenerator. Iron Jugglers still at full, but we do still have Zapdos, which is very healthy. And that's great because it means I can Roost stall the Iron Jugulus. Obviously, I have to be a little careful not to just like... Really? Switches out into Iron Jugulus here? No way. You just handed me that? You just handed me Palafin? Into a Leaf Blade? A predictable Leaf Blade? That thing's dead. Thing's dead to poison. Dies to Toxic Spikes Poison. Which was set up by Fortress, but Fortress doesn't get a kill for it. That's literally what I was talking about pregame, which is kind of funny. So Klefki is what comes in here. This thing definitely has the potential to be quite annoying. I'm not going to lie. And I think I'm just gonna Leech Seed. Just so it can't, like, set up forever on me. Thunderwave. Okay. That's unfortunate. Well, okay. Tit for tat here. We're just gonna trade the nothing happens moves. I could go Garchomp. I can also just go Zapdos here, and I think Zapdos is gonna be better for me. Garchomp could come in, but there's a Dazzling Gleam possibility. There's really no reason to like lose Garchomp for nothing. And there is the Dazzling Gleam. Now this is a free Roost opportunity for me, and I should take it. Cyclizar probably comes in, but I still think I'd rather Roost than anything else. Because I want to be well out of range, if possible, of the Iron Jugulus. Spikes go up. That only hurts... I mean, it hurts my Mons, but it really just hurts the Garchomp's ability to switch in too many times. At this point, I think I could just go hard Garchomp. I don't think you're going to click Dazzling Gleam here. And then just Fire Fang, because the Iron Jugulus could be coming in. I could just Heat Wave as well. I mean, I think I just Heat... yeah, I don't think you're going to... Okay. I'm not going to get Garchomp in again, because I don't have any more removal. If it dies, it dies. It gives me a free switch. If it doesn't die, because it gets in on the spikes, one layer of spikes doesn't kill it, then I have the opportunity to click moves. If you click Dazzling Gleam, great, but you get that second layer of spikes up. Greninja's Boots, Zapdos is flying, and Leafeon has Leech Seed. So we are okay on the rest of my Mons, and Mew can take some damage, that's fine. So I could Earthquake, but I think Iron Jugulus is very likely to come in here. I don't think you're just going to stay in with your Klefki. So I'm just going to click Fire Fang. I'm not going to click Swords Dance, because you could Dazzling Gleam. If you're going to stay in, you're going to click Dazzling Gleam. But I just don't see that with the Earthquake possibility and the sort of this is a Sackmon, because I can't switch it back in anyway. So you might just stay in for that reason, because this is just like a clean sack for me. But I think Iron Jugulus is going to come in here. Could I have gone for the Dragon Claw? I guess. But I'm not that, you know, I'm real, but I'm not that real. I'm going to be honest. Fire Fang at least does some damage, and we're just going to stay in. We're going to click Dragon Claw this time. Because Fire Fang would have been nice on the Klefki too. But we're going to see the Dark Pulse. This is going to kill me. I couldn't switch out anyway. Kills Garchomp with Dark Pulse. So I have Greninja, which could come in here. But Klefki is clearly designed to stop Greninja, right? It's got T-Wave. It's clearly designed to stop the Greninja. So we're going to go into Zapdos. And I still have T-Wave, which is still good for the Klefki and for this, but I think I just Volt Switch. It's just better. And if Cyclizar does come in, Greninja does come in on Cyclizar better. And that is going to be Cyclizar. So we're going to see Volt Switch come out. I don't know if Greninja kills Cyclizar from here. Probably not, to be honest. But Leafeon just walls, right? Like, we've evaluated that this thing literally doesn't touch Leafeon. So, gonna go into Leafeon. I'm gonna take some poison. And I don't know what you're gonna do here. I think I'm just gonna click Leech Seed though. Just hard switches, doesn't want to get Protect into more poison damage. Out comes Annihilate. We're just wearing this thing down, which I'm comfortable with. So we're gonna get my HP back from the spikes. I feel like this is now where I protect. Last time I didn't protect with the Annihilate in. There's no real incentive for me not to click protect here. It just, like, you don't get anything by going to Klefki, really. You just lose 25% on your Annihilate and did nothing. So it feels like you're going to want to do something. It could be bulk up. But even if it's bulk up, I'm fine with that. And so now, I'm sort of guessing you're going to click Drain Punch here. And I think this is actually where I want to use my eject button on Mew. Because you're going to Drain Punch, it's going to do very little to Mew. Rage Fist is only 50 power. And then I go right back into Leafeon and can protect again, and like, what are you going to do? You just lose this thing. So, you do get a little bit of HP back off of the Mew, but I get rid of my eject button, which is actually sort of a liability for the rest of the game. Drain Punch is going to do basically nothing. And Mew's eject button is going to pop. And we're just going to go right back into Leafeon. Take some spike damage, doesn't matter because we're immediately going to get Leech Seed back. And now you could switch if you wanted, but I'm just going to protect and this thing's going to die later. So it's just dead. Like, yeah, you can switch it out. You can go Klefki here if you want. You can go Iron Jugulus if you want. Should I have predicted that? Maybe. Iron Jugulus does come in here. I do have Zapdos that can just freely come in on that. I'm at full HP. I think you're choiced. So I think I can just protect here and scout your intent. I actually do believe that you're probably choiced in some way. And I think it might be Specs. Because Dark Pulse should be doing about 50 HP and it did about 70 to Zapdos. Maybe, maybe not. Maybe it's Scarf. Hurricane. Yeah, so we're going to go Zapdos, obviously. You're going to switch, obviously. Like, nobody's making any real plays here. You didn't switch. Does that mean you're not choiced? Am I making a missed call here? Taunt. You're not choiced. Okay. That's fine, because I have Volt Switch. Go into Cyclizar. I've played this game a couple of times now. Like, Cyclizar doesn't have a way to hit Leafeon. You're gonna sack off your Annihilate. It's just gone. Lose your Mon that has your Terra. So I know exactly what types everything is. Zapdos is still at full HP. Zapdos kills Annihilate with Volt Switch. Iron Jugulus is going to come right back in. Obviously on literally anything that I bring in, except for Greninja baits in Klefki. But I'm going to go Greninja, and the reason I'm going to go Greninja to bait in Klefki is because it has Boots, for one, and it brings in Zapdos safely. Zapdos comes right back in and just starts clicking Heat Wave or Volt Switch or whatever. Cyclizar isn't breaking it. Like, Cyclizar is never breaking through it. So you went Cyclizar here, which makes me think your last move hits Greninja. Whatever it is, it hits Greninja. I'm going to go Leafeon because I don't know what's going on. You could just be U-turning to get your HP all the way back to full. But it is Draco. You had Draco this whole time and you never clicked it on this? That's unreal. I've been super played here. Wow. Okay. I mean, that's not the end of the world because this thing doesn't have a ton of utility left. Everything it was supposed to kill is dead. And I honestly, getting 2 Dracos, I just go into Greninja, right? And then this thing isn't really going to touch it. I mean, U-turn still does damage to it, I guess. I'm just going to go for a double protect here. You could switch. It's kind of predictable. We hit it. We hit it. Goes for the U-turn. Slams into double protect here. I don't think it's worth getting any damage on anything else here, so I'm just going to let this go down at this point. I'm just, you know what, just see how far we can go with this. Nah, that's as far as we're going to go with it. That's fine. We're going to see the U-turn come out. Actually, I might live that. And maybe I should have just gone for a Leech Seed there, but that thing's back down to 70% again, so it didn't really gain any HP. Iron Jugulis can come in. Which it does. I think I just go Zapdos hard, maybe? Get a safe switch into this later, or like a clean... So basically, switching into this later, dying to Spikes, Cyclizar can't switch out with U-turn on that. Which is the best use of this that I'm going to get. So we're going to go into Zapdos here. They had Draco that whole time and never clicked it. That's insane. I could have just stayed in with the Zapdos, but whatever. Dark Pulse comes out. Live that. No problem. Just Volt Switch here. It's safe, it's free, it's clean. Cyclizar is going to come in. We go Greninja. We click Ice Beam. Live 1 hit. Kill it. Klefki comes in. And once Cyclizar goes down, Zapdos wins the game. So Klefki came in. Okay. Some damage on Klefki. To be honest, I think it's Mew. And as ridiculous as it sounds, I think it's Rocks. Just for Cyclizar, because that thing is like switching in too frequently, and just getting the extra damage is huge. It's leftovers Klefki. All right. I could Willow this too. Or I could just Volt, but I think I'm just going to Stealth Rock. T-Wave, that's fine. You'll bring Paralyzed as well, which actually is fine by me. So I'm glad I didn't Willow. And we're just going to get off Stealth Rock here. We can finally, never mind. I was going to say we can finally scout if Iron Jugulis is Boots. Which now I kind of feel like it might be. I'm just going to Volt Switch here then. Given that development. Stays in. And is going for Dazzling Gleam. We have Zapdos. We have Heat Wave on it. Cyclizar could come in on the Heat Wave. That's fine. We sack Leafeon if that happens. I could also just Roost here. Which might be better, to be honest. I can Heat Wave or I can Roost. I think I'm just going to Roost. Just going to Roost. Cyclizar comes in. I just go into Leafeon, sack that. Go Greninja. It takes 2 turns of poison for that. Third layer of spikes. Okay. It's going to be back to full. So I'm out of range of Iron Jugulis. Zapdos doing the thing that it's designed to do, which is just tank the hits that it needs to tank. I do think I want a Heat Wave and not Volt Switch here. because I eventually need to kill Klefki. I don't know what his last move is, but I need to kill it. And it would have been nice to get a heat wave off there on the spikes, but 3 layers of spikes is what it is. Heat wave comes out. Huge damage to the Klefki. Dazzling Gleam comes out. It's going to do basically nothing. And with leftovers, it's going to do even less than nothing. That actually is a little bit of a lie. It does more than nothing. But I have the opportunity to heat wave again. I have the opportunity to Volt Switch here. Based on the previous roll, Volt Switch will not kill. And I would like it to die. So I'm just going to go for a heat wave. If you go into the Cyclizar, so be it. Again, we have a plan. A little bit of damage with the heat wave. A little bit of damage with the poison. Sack the Leafeon. Then go Greninja. Which might not kill, but also won't die. Zapdos having leftovers is very important, so I'm not letting a knockoff come off here. This dies to the spikes. So Leafeon dies to spikes from Klefki. Klefki should not get credited with kill for that. Cyclizar cannot U-turn, cannot knock off. We see the knockoff was the choice here. It's going to just take poison damage. Going to get my Greninja in here. And sort of hope that Ice Beam kills. It doesn't necessarily guaranteed kill. But I don't need Greninja to be Battle Bond boosted. And I'm living any one hit. I don't want it to be paralyzed because I want it to have to be the Iron Jugulis just in case. Knowing that that's not Scarfed. So if you do go like hard Klefki and it lives the Ice Beam, I'm going to switch out into Zapdos. But we have boots on this, so it's definitely living any hit from... Any Cyclizar that can survive this hit cannot kill me with any hit. I guess that's the best way to phrase it. If it lives this hit, I won't die. If it doesn't live this hit, then it maybe could have killed me with hits, but it dies. And then I get the Battle Bond. You're going to go into Klefki at that point. So Cyclizar, so Greninja kills Cyclizar with Ice Beam. And the question is, do I just trust you're going to get fully paralyzed or miss your T-Wave and go for the win? Or do I take the sure thing, go into Zapdos, and just basically... like, Greninja always beats Iron Jugulis 1v1. Unless you're... like, you're going to go Klefki here, obviously. And I just don't know how Iron Jugulis beats a Greninja that's not paralyzed. It does beat it if it is paralyzed, so we're going to go Zapdos here. We're going to click the Heat Wave, force the Iron Jugulis in, force it to get, like, a bunch of flinches anyway. Get the Greninja in safely, go for another Ice Beam. And it should live any hit from the Iron Jugulis anyway. Should go straight Dazzling Gleam, doesn't even go for the T-Wave, which is fine. Heat Wave is my play here every time, because Klefki's out of range of a Volt Switch, and I have nothing to switch into the Klefki right now. Once I get any damage on the Iron Jugulis, we're fine. Iron Jugulis obviously can't kill me from here either. So we're just going to Heat Wave. And should... Okay, so you're going to switch this out. So I'm just going to Volt Switch now. Dark Pulse is going to have to do a lot of work for you here. But that's going to be in range of Ice Beam now. And with the burn, we're just going to put it on an even better timer here. To be honest, now my best play might be to just Roost. I hate that, so I'm not going to do it. Well, I am going to do it once. And then I'm going to Heat Wave. I'm just going to stay in here, I think. So we're just going to Roost here. Dark Pulse comes out. Roost comes out. And I'm not going to Roost stall, like, fully. That's not the plan. I'm not going to, like, wait until they die. I'm just going to... I did that because now a burn plus Heat Wave plus burn should kill. And I can stay in and not have to switch this out into Greninja or Volt Switch out and come back in with this later. I can just stay in with the Zapdos at this point. Because I wasn't going to get 4 kills in anything anyway. I already have too many different mons that have killed different mons. So now we're just going to stay in and click Heat Wave. If they get a bunch of flinches, Greninja comes in. I will switch into Mew if they get enough flinches, just so that Zapdos can always 1v1 the Klefki. In case Greninja gets paralyzed and all those things, I will sack Mew if they do get like 2 flinches. So I'm out of range of Dazzling Gleam, or I outspeed it, and then I can just go for a Roost later. So if they do get like 2 flinches, I will switch my Zapdos out. But we're just going to go for the Heat Wave here. Take out the Iron Jugulus here. Zapdos kills Iron Jugulus with Heat Wave. And now Klefki should never be able to kill Zapdos. And we should pick up a 3-0 victory here. It's a small victory. It's not the 4-0, but that doesn't matter. We needed 2 points. And with the victory, we picked up 2 points. That's all I needed. No one ever said I had to do more than that. Zapdos kills Klefki with Heat Wave. And I hope my opponent doesn't think that what I did there with the Roost was like trying to like stall out or anything. I had a very clear plan, which was if I get flinched, obviously I'm going to need to Roost again. If I don't get flinched, Roost gets me out of range of any other attack, and I can kill with Heat Wave, which I wasn't sure was going to kill before that. Obviously it's predicated on the burn. But given the burn, obviously it changed my play, right? I wasn't going to make that play right away. I made that play because my opponent got burned from the Heat Wave, and then I was like, okay, with 2 burn rounds, another Heat Wave should kill, and if not, it will kill with another burn. So I might as well go back to full, click Heat Wave, get 2 chances. If they had flinch, I go Mew, sack that, go Greninja, click Ice Beam, and if they go hard Klefki, I just go right back into Zapdos and click Roost. And if they stay in with the Iron Jugulus, sack that. Greninja outspeeds the Klefki. I would just go for a Surf. If they T-Wave, para, kill my Greninja, I still have Zapdos and can just click either Heat Wave or Volt Switch, depending on how much HP the Klefki is at and how much HP I am at. Still have a bunch of Roosts left. So I had inevitability that game. I was just trying to find a path to do it that led to the most likely value, most likely way to have success. But I think I only scored 2 points. I'm going to be honest. I don't think I got any more than that. I think I just won with a 3-0. I don't remember anything living on less than 5. I don't think anything got, well, definitely nothing got 4 kills. It was not a home game. But 2 points is enough. 2 points is enough. We have done it. We are the 6th seed. 6th seed makes playoffs. We will be playing in the play-in quarterfinal, whatever you want to call it, round, wildcard round, in the playoffs. The New York Empoleon have done just enough to squeak in. Thank you all so much for watching. The GBA season is not yet over. Hopefully next week I'm not playing at 1 o'clock in the morning. I will see you all next time. Take care, everybody.